Hello and welcome to the Interlocking Loops Flosstube video. It's July 5th, 2020. I hope everybody had a good 4th of July, saw their fill of fireworks, or at least heard lots of banging around with them. I know we did. I've got most of the family home here, so hopefully we won't have too many interruptions, and so far Pumpkin the cat is asleep. So let's start this episode. It's been a little bit since we've talked. It's been probably 4 weeks, if not more. I had intentions on doing videos, but we've had several things go on. My dad's been in and out of the hospital a few different times out of town for some fairly serious things. We have sheep. We've had some issues with some health of a couple of those, and it's hot outside, and by the time I do these Flosstube videos in the afternoon, and I've been outside hot and sweaty all day, I don't look fit for a video. So we're going to try this today, and let's start with previously finished cross-stitch projects. So I have a Lizzie Kate one from last year, Let Freedom Ring. And just so you know, I am still in process of fully finishing those, but it's almost finished. I have a cute back on it as well. And the flosses I used are all on my blog, www.interlockingloops.com. And here's another one by Lizzie Kate, Yankee Doodles. I knew when I bought this, I wanted to make this for this year. So it has been finished, and I finally got the back on it is the same as the last one, and it says Pop. Some nice patriotic fabric. Then there's Threadwork Primitives America, which, for those of you that have been watching for a while, have seen these in progress over the last year. It's a variegated blue background, so it's a little bit mottled. The blue isn't solid, which is kind of nice. Another one by Threadwork Primitives, Happy 4th, and I've seen several people have this one in their displays as well. Here is mine. Also with that mottled blue in the background. The last one, I still have floss pulled for this because eventually I want to work on another one other than one of the smalls, but it's Hands-On Design Star Spangled Swine Farm, and it's this little one up here at the top. And I have the thread a needle out because it will be the one I have to sew up the hole at the bottom. So it's almost fully finished. You can see I have opening at the bottom. And I have some really cute fabric that I bought with these on them as well, the banner. So those are previously finished things. When we last talked, I'd been working on Stitch Mania for the month of May. If you've seen my blog recently, you've already seen the finished stitched piece. This is by Little House Needleworks Fresh Watermelon, and who doesn't like a great watermelon? That drew me in. And this is finished. The exact threads that were used were, I believe, pretty much what was requested as far as the DMC list. And I believe that was it's on Ada, whether it was 16, I think it's 18 count, 1/1. And the one thing I did different about this, because the fabric is a little bit lighter, I don't know how well you can tell with some of these flowers, like up here. My ivory, of course, blended in. To make it pop, I did some back stitching around the flower to try to make that pop a little bit. The same in a couple other places. So that's a little bit different than the called for instructions. So, but I made it mine, so to speak. So that was wonderful. So that's finished. Maybe next summer I actually get it finished into a project. Some other things I've been working on, haven't necessarily been stitching, although I have a few projects. I've been working on dyeing some more fabric. I did some coffee tea dyed fabric. It's Ada. I have some ornaments I'm going to use. Where does this look the most correct color-wise? So the ivory is here, undyed, and this is coffee dyed. And both in multiple counts. Some's 18, some 16. I have some 14 because I think 14 is sometimes good for ornaments, for your Christmas tree, that kind of thing. So I've done both of those. I also used some Rit dye and did a pearl gray color of the liquid dye and a denim blue. And the pearl gray is here at the front and the denim blue is behind it. So all of them together kind of give quite a good variation, I think. So I'm set to start several projects now. So that's kind of exciting. And what I do, I know I've explained this one other time before, but I have dyed yarn and things like that, and I have a dedicated crock pot to that, and I fill it up most of the way with water. It instructs you on the back of the bottle exactly how to do with, I did put some liquid dish detergent in there as well as some salt, as it says, and I crumpled up the fabric. And for each of these, because I was worried it would be too dark a fabric, I used just, once you've stirred it up, you know, shaken it up really well, half a capful in that much water is all the dye I used. And it comes up with really pretty shades, so I'm very pleased with how it came off. And you'll be seeing more of that fabric in projects this fall. So let's talk about a little bit what I have been stitching on most recently. Alright, so I bought from Fat Quarter Shop a Bent Creek pattern. Where is the cover page for it? Here we go. Flag of Stars by Bent Creek. And while it came in a kit, I didn't want to use the pearl cotton. I'm eventually going to do that another time, but my favorite isn't pearl cotton, so I went with DMC. So that's the pattern itself, and I'm stitching over some coffee tea dyed Ada. I still have a needle in the project, and here's what I have done so far. It's really neat. So there's white, there's a couple different colors of blue, a couple different shades of red, and that's coming along well. I'll have that hopefully in my display for Patriotic for next year. So never too soon to get that going. And if most of you remember, I really like to stitch. What's going on in the season is really my favorite. It's the easiest for me to stitch. I'm in the mood for that kind of thing. So that's what I started. However, this next one is not that way. And in the spirit of Jolly July, that I know several of you are doing, I started another Brenda Gervais wordplay. And this one is a one for December. And I started with what I consider the focal point to be. This poor pattern has been roughed up a little bit. I started the focal point. Santa. Who doesn't like Santa? I'm using licorice red. I'm not necessarily using any of the colorful colors. I'm kind of going what I like, and I think a good red brightens it up quite a bit. And it's on ivory 18 count Ada. 2 threads over 1. And here he is, complete with a candy cane. I think he's adorable. I actually tried using some Whisper floss, but with the small size needle I had, the Whisper floss wasn't going to work. I wanted to do maybe his beard with the Whisper floss, but then I abandoned that idea because it didn't seem like it was coming along easily enough, and that I've figured out by now if something I'm trying to make happen, trying to force it to happen, isn't coming along easy, it probably isn't meant to be. So my Worcester floss is back in a safe spot to use on something else coming up. Another thing I hoped to get started this weekend and didn't, so now we're shifting into plans, I guess, is the July of the Square Dance by Heart and Hand. This one right here with the fish. I like blues and greens. They're some of my favorite color combinations. So when I saw this one, it's the next in line for me to stitch. I've done January through June already, and I haven't got a stitch started yet, but I have all the DMC, and I have the Coffee Tea Dyed Ada, which is a little bit darker than some of the dyeing I've done, but I think it's going to look nice. So hopefully next time we meet, we'll talk a little bit more about how that project's going. I wanted to show you another one that I'm anxious to get going, but haven't started. I have everything in my project bag. It's another by Brenda Gervais. It's Indigo Lane. I know it's not a brand new pattern, but I just love the colors in it. And eventually we're going to be redoing the furniture in our living room, and I think these colors are going to go fantastic with my living room to hang that up. So isn't that pretty? Blues, kind of taupe. So that actually hasn't been started either, but is all kitted up and ready to go. And the fabric I'm going to use for that is by Pictures Plus 18 count sterling Ada. So it actually has a slightly light gray to light blue tint to it. It's pretty. So I've got everything all ready. I just have to sit down and have things calm down enough. Now the garden's getting started, and now we're getting produce out of the garden and processing that, and that's taking up some of my time. But that's that way every year. So one of the new charts I've also purchased. For those of you that have been with me the whole time, know that my whole reason for getting into cross stitch was to have cute little pillows for displays. That was it. Never say never. Okay, I started buying some samplers. I'll show more about some of the charts and samplers on my next Flosstube video, which will not be a month from now. Fingers crossed. But I did buy the Carolyn Behringer by Summerhouse Stitchworks pattern. Oh my goodness. The bright colors really drew me in. This the floss key has gassed wool, it has gassed floss and DMC floss all included, and I pulled DMC in colors I liked. I tried to do in a light and a dark of each color. I figured I was going to hang it on the wall. I wanted to make the colors look like what I wanted, and they aren't necessarily going to go in my living room colors. I'm okay with that. So I've got a whole floss ring full of colors that I intend on using, from things that are real light to things that are darker, like a dark blue, a nice magenta. So stay tuned to see how that's going to come along. And I've pulled some 28 count even weave and ivory to try to stitch that on as well. As most of you know, I haven't really done anything that wasn't on Ada, so fingers crossed that goes well too. I've been watching a few YouTube videos. Currently our internet's been off the last few days, so even though I'm recording this on Sunday, I hope to get this up in the next 24 to 48 hours, given the situation with the internet. Apparently there was a power surge or a lightning strike or something, and we've been out all weekend, so crazy. So that's what's been happening for the most part with cross stitch. What I've also been doing, for those of you that are knitters, maybe you'll be interested to hear or see some of the other things I've been working on, because I'm also a knitter too. And when times are stressful, what I do is I knit socks. And as I just mentioned, over the last month, I've had more than my fair share of stressful situations, and so one of the things when I was most worried about my dad, I went down to my sock yarn stash, grabbed a few skeins, and my husband helped me wind some of those up to start socks. And because I expected maybe there would be a hospital stay where I would be able to be there, but alas, with COVID, that was not to be the case. But he's back home now and on the mend, so thumbs up, fingers crossed things stay that way. So this sock yarn is by Nicole C. Mendez. This is not brand new sock yarn to me. I don't know if she still has her Etsy shop, but it was NicoleMendez.etsy.com. And the Little Red Riding Hood colorway and a strong sock base, 75% wool, 25% nylon. And let's just check out how pretty this is. So I do mine on DPNs from the cuff down. Oh, I love it. I've really been into pinks lately with the sock yarn that I've been wanting to knit with. Some kind of pink stripe or other needs to be involved. This one I was working on. It is by Mustache Yarns. Some of her Perfect Sock self-striping in the Daily Eggs colorway. It's a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon and fingering. And I believe if you search for Mustache Yarn, you'll find her site. So she updates every Tuesday, I can tell you that. So this is the Daily Eggs colorway, and this isn't brand new to me either. I've had this for some time. I have a fairly healthy sock yarn stash. So here's one sock finished. It's a vanilla sock top down, heel flap and gusset. I don't even need to have a pattern. I know I've done this one so many times. They're to fit me. And on the second sock that I have got going, I have the leg done, the heel flap, the heel turn, and I'm now decreasing the gusset stitches to then go out for the foot and then the toe. So they're coming along really well, and we just had a Zoom call with family on my husband's side that finished up about 5:15, and during that Zoom call I did most of the gusset stitch decreases at that time. So I'm not really afraid of being bored, but I don't seem to like idle hands. There's always something I want to be doing, so that's been some of it. We did fireworks actually Friday night. We went to one of the local smaller towns where you can kind of social distance and watch the fireworks, and that was wonderful. They do a good display even though the town is very small. The town that I actually work at is on the other side. They had theirs in last night, but because I'm involved in that toad and frog survey, biology kind of thing, that was our last survey period. And we went and did that last night. We got to see a tremendous amount of fireworks all over the area from all the different locations, trying to listen for frogs and toads. So that was fun. We've made 2 different batches of ice cream. We made one Friday and shared it with my folks with some dinner Saturday night. And then I made some more today, and it's in the freezer ripening now so that maybe we can eat that. If not tonight, maybe tomorrow night. So things have been busy. Our son is out of state. He was also on the Zoom call, so I heard his voice, and he's doing well. He did call last night. He calls every couple days, so things are going well in his area. My daughter has started her internship, distanced, and she only has like 5 weeks or less left before she goes back to college, and my son maybe has 4. So I have now pulled out the cutting rotary cutter and the cutting mat, as both of them need to have masks on at their campuses. And just Thursday I was able to get off work a little bit early, went to the quilt store and purchased several half yards to make several different masks for them. So we'll be getting that sewing underway soon so they can have those masks to take with them. So it's just been kind of a crazy time. I hope the summer is going well for you. I hope if your garden has produce that you're enjoying all of that. And happy stitching, happy crafting, and good health. We'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.